Welcome to day 4 of Ink Week. Today's day is Ink Week Day 4, Show and Tell the User Experience. Before I invite Uflex's Ashwani Kumar Sharma for the keynote address, let me thank all the A-listers and tech gurus who have presented their thoughts to us over the past 3 days. Here, let me thank our partners, Zeegwork and Uber India, for their unconditional support to Ink Week. This brings us to today's session, day 4 of Ink Week. I invite Uflex's Ashwani Kumar Sharma for the keynote address. He is the president and CEO, Aseptic Liquid Packaging. In 4 years, Uflex's Asepto has established itself as a leading aseptic liquid packaging manufacturer in India with a growth rate of more than 100%. Today, Uflex Asepto is manufacturing 3.5 billion packs a year. Ashwani Kumar Sharma will provide a glimpse into this journey and share key trends. Please welcome, sir. So you're on mute and not audible.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me, Sriram, now?
Yes, loud and clear. Thanks.
So thank you very much, Team Print Week, for inviting me. It's truly a pleasure and honor to be part of this panel. Like you shared that, I've been asked to speak about the success story of aseptic liquid packaging business at Uflex. Let me start by giving a very short introduction of what Uflex is, although a lot of you may know about Uflex. So Uflex is the largest flexible packaging company of India. We also are the fastest growing flexible packaging company in the world. We do a top line of around $1.75 billion. That clearly puts us in a leadership position. We are into a lot of verticals which are all related to flexible packaging. So we start with granules, we convert the granules to films. From films, we make flexible packaging, laminates. We produce around 135,000 tons of laminates in the country, and we export to 140 countries. We do films, like I said, all kinds of films. Outside China, now we are the largest PET film manufacturer in the world. But we do films in polyester films, we do BOPP, we do CPP, we manufacture chemically coated high barrier films, specialty films. So different kinds of films, metallized films. We have factories all over the world. We have a factory in America, in Mexico. These are large manufacturing facilities for film manufacturing. We have 3 factories in Europe, one in Hungary, one in Russia, and the other one is in Poland. In Africa, we have 2 factories. We have one in Nigeria and one factory in Egypt. Obviously, in the Middle East, we are well represented. We have a factory in Jebel Ali in Dubai, and many factories, of course, in India. And we continue to expand. We were packaging almost everything, right? From solids, semi-solids, powdered material, and working with brands. Like I said, we are exporting to 140 countries, and we are a very prominent player in India. So brands like PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Amul, Britannia, GSK, Nestle, Procter & Gamble, you name a brand, Mars, we already work with them. So we package them not only in India, we package them outside India, in Europe, in America, and so on and so forth. So pretty strong global presence. What we were not doing was aseptic liquid packaging. So around 2016, our chairman conceived this project. Actually, he conceived it long time back, but that's the time he discussed with me that why don't we venture into liquid packaging business? And I found the idea very, very exciting as to because there was not there were no players in India besides a large global multinational player. There was not even a single Indian company which had thought of venturing into this business, as the challenges were very, very stringent in this category. So we thought, let's take the challenge head on, and decided to venture into aseptic liquid packaging. So let me explain to you, all of you, what aseptic packaging is. And this is predominantly, when we are talking aseptic liquid packaging, we are talking of paper-based aseptic liquid packaging. So we keep the sustainability, factor very, very high for such products. And this particular product is growing at a very rapid pace in Europe, in America, and is preferred as packaging over all other categories of packaging, whether it's glass or whether it's plastic, PET bottles, or so on and so forth. So let me show you how aseptic packaging looks like. Most of you may know, but this is a typical aseptic packaging carton, paper-based carton. So few of them are here. Let me show you different brands. It is a 6-layer structure. So the top layer is poly. Inside poly is paper. Paper typically can vary between 195 to 210 grams, depending on from where you're sourcing the paper. It's a paper board, and it's a very special board, which is called liquid packaging board, which has a very high, basically a food grade product, which very stringent process of manufacturing, because it has to comply with all food grade norms. Then you have poly, another layer. And then you have aluminum, and then contact layer of combination of two kinds of very high high grades of poly. All these polys which are being used are food grade poly. So 75% approximately of this packaging is just paper. And then you have aluminum, which is again a natural product, and very, very small percentage of poly is being used in aseptic packaging. So idea of why aseptic packaging, right? Aseptic countries like India, which are vast, the products need to travel, and we have, obviously we are a milk drinking nation. Milk travels, milk products travel, products in yogurt, they travel, juices have to travel. So the point is, within the states and across states, so across geographies, the product have to travel. The idea is, when you how do we make sure as a packaging manufacturer that when the product is filled and by the time it's sold, the life of the product remains perfect, in the sense that the freshness is preserved. So our idea is, our endeavor is to ensure that the freshness of the product is preserved for a very long period of time. And longer we can stretch it, the better it is for consumer, because then the consumer has time and choice, to buy it at will. And in between, the manufacturers also have enough flexibility and space to manufacture and use the supply chain appropriately. So aseptic packaging predominantly, these layers, like I explained, ensures that the product integrity remains proper, and the product freshness is preserved for a long period of time. Moving forward, like I said, this product is, this is how the aseptic packaging looks like. It is basically, it's used in 3 categories. So one is juice category, where I have few juices in front of me. The other one is alcohol category, where in India, I think alcohol is being packaged in aseptic packaging, and it's growing at a very, very rapid pace. And the third one is a dairy category. The dairy is can be milk products. So juices, dairy, and alcohol, these are large categories. And then we have all these niche categories which are coming up, which is predominantly ORS, tomato ketchups, tomato puree, coconut juice, and coconut milk. So various kinds of new categories are coming up. Moving forward, how we basically, when we got into so we had all the basics in place. When going back to when me and our chairman were having this discussion of aseptic liquid packaging, the first thing was how we decided how we can be different, because when we studied the market, we studied that most of the players in the world actually followed the Scandinavian, global giants. So these are predominantly two companies which were followed by whoever ventured into this business. So we saw a lot of Chinese companies started aseptic packaging paper-based laminates, but they followed typically the large companies like Tetra Pak and SIGs. So typically, exactly the same business model was followed. And when we studied this market, we saw in the last 20 years, there was nothing, there was not, any major step taken in terms of changing or enhancing the aesthetics or making sure that the product stands out. So besides, little bit shape changes, so all products look like, similar. So you may have different printing, different inks, but there is no, and or maybe a shape which is a little different, longer, wider, spherical, or prisma shape. But having said that, there was nothing done on the aesthetic side which makes actually products stand out in the shelves. So when we conceived the project, we thought how we can be different, and we came up with something like this from day one. So imagine, a pack like this in the shelf and how well it will communicate with the customers. So we started, the point I'm making is that we started the thought of innovation and thought of inculcating the culture of innovation in the organization was from day one. And we worked on these projects from day one. So the product that I showed you was foil stamping. This is holographic, right? So imagine the attraction it will have with the kids, or specific target segments. So we brought in categories of holography, and we brought in the categories of foil stamping, and we branded these categories as Asepto I and Asepto Premium and Asepto Spark. So Asepto obviously is the brand, and all these these categories of innovation, they started doing well in the market, and was seriously and sincerely appreciated by our by all categories of customers, which I explained. We obviously, when we conceived the project with the innovation, we set up the plant, state-of-the-art plant in Sanand. We put Gallus printing lines. We put the best of the best Davis standard extrusion lamination line, the IMS slitting lines from Italy. So most of the machines are coming from Germany. The slitting line, the best is made in Italy, so came from Italy. The packing line, which is robotics and very, very sophisticated packing line, came from Signode, USA. So we put a project which was technologically the best that the money can buy. But the point is that you can put the project and you can conceive the best of ideas, but end of the day, it has to be marketed well, and it has to have acceptance and appreciation of the customers. So we worked very, very hard for last 4 years, when we started the business. And today we work with all top brands, whether it's, Dabur, whether it's Coca-Cola, whether it's PepsiCo, Fresca, name a brand, and we are already dealing with those top brands. Amul, right? In alcohol category, we are dealing with all brands. In energy category, like energy drinks, like from Electrol, Enerzol. So we're dealing with all top brands. So it was a project which was well conceived and well sold. And from the value addition point of view, we could offer to our customers that, how to make sure that their brand does well at the shelf, at the retail space, in the retail, in the retail area. So we inculcated a concept or culture of innovation within the organization and outside the organization, and that worked really, really well for us. In last 4 years, like we were introduced, that we grew 100% year on year, but our CAGR has been 80%, which is phenomenal. And you can imagine that having growth rate of 100% in 2 years still You start a project manageable. But every year, if you double, that is a real story. And I'm happy to announce that in March, we doubled our capacity. So we are no more at 3.5 billion packs. We are at 7 billion packs. But from March, the month we doubled the capacity, we are sold out. So, I have more orders than my capacity today. And not only we developed the market in India, we developed Asepto as a brand globally. So today we are a global brand to reckon with. We are exporting to so many countries. We have over 250 customers, within India and outside India, and going very, very strong. So one part was, making a great product, making sure that we have a great consistency in the product, making sure that the customers feel that we deliver or clearly experience that what we promise we deliver. But the other part was also that we wanted to be a very responsible organization from aseptic packaging point of view. So sustainability was one area where we worked very, very hard from day one. All our product waste, what we generate in our plant is taken out, goes for recycling, and I can show you the products that are made out of these. So this is a recycled product. It's a board. It's a hard board. So this is typically a writing pad, a product made out of recycle. So these are sold also in the market, but if anybody interested, we can send these products to you. So recycling is one area where we worked very, very hard. Now we also are the first company in the country that will be coming up with a plant of separation technology. We will share these details as and when we are ready, but we should be able to separate paper with aluminum and poly. So once the paper is separated, then many products can be made. Firstly, the paper can go for repulping, or if we don't send it for repulping, we can straight away start making egg trays, for example, or various other paper-based, or pulp-based products. So that technology we are working on, and hopefully within this year, this plant of separation technology will be ready, and hopefully we'll be able to help our customers and our clients in this endeavor of recycling more and more. So that's where we are on the recycle front. Moving forward, last but not the least, we will obviously now, like I said, that March we started, and March we are already full with the capacity. March in the sense when we doubled the capacity. So now we are looking at expansion. We are taking the game forward. Our vision is that we become number 2 company in the world. See, wherever we enter, we want to be either number 1 or number 2. In this category, aseptic liquid packaging, we want to be in roll-fed technology. We want to be number 2 in the world. And the way we are walking our path, I think we have clearly chalked out the timelines. We are looking at becoming number 2 in next 5 years' time, and hopefully we will reach there. So thank you so much. Still a long way to go, but the distance that we have covered in the last 4 years, from 0 to 8 billion packs, from creating a brand, from 0 to international, from where we are, Asepto, and our people who are exposed completely, who have learned a lot, developed as very intelligent, sharp managers, who are working now not only in India, but working and meeting global clients and convincing them that, here, listen, this is a product that we are making in India, and it beats the quality standards of international, large, the big giants. So it's a very proud feeling here for us, and we hope that we are able to take this business ahead with blessings of our customers. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ashwani Kumar Sharma. Staggering numbers, I must say, and wonderful sharing these details with us. One quick question from our audience is that, what do you think is a solution for low volume, in the sense few hundred kgs of multi-layer pouches, which has frequent changes in artwork, like almost every month, for the in terms of the flexible packaging materials?
So you see, flexible packaging is in this technology. This is a different technology, right?
Okay.
So you have a lot of random. You have a lot of on the flexible packaging side. You have a lot of technologies today existing which can cater to smaller SKUs. But when you talk of our business, right? This business, you need to have a filling line. There is a concept of co-packing. So there are co-packers which are present in the country and of course globally. There are co-packers in India, there are co-packers outside India, where a customer can go. For example, you can go and you say that, listen, I want to just have 5,000 packs, filled, and these are the guys who will make it. As far as printing is concerned, everything is possible. We obviously the cost goes up and cost is different, but we can print smaller volumes. It's not a problem. So technically, it's possible. Technically, extruding also is possible because then we can join the reels and make smaller batches. But main thing is filling, and filling cannot be done. May not be financially viable if they buy the filling line. But through co-packing route, it's possible. Absolutely, and I think it's a great idea, and I invite you, to come and see a plant. I mean, it's one of the best plants you will see in the world. So we don't boast that it's a plant, one of the best plant in the country, but right. It's totally one of the best plants in the world. Sure. So you're most welcome, and we're very proud to showcase the technology we have.
Super. Thank you very much. Moving on, I'll invite Mayuri Nikumbh, the head of design, Conran Design Group. Mayuri has worked on some of the leading brands like Abbott, Britannia, Aishka Polaris, Godrej, Heinz, Himalaya, Jubilant Foods, Mars Foods, Microsoft, Nestle, Nivea. The list is endless. She has innumerable award-winning projects and contributed to the success of startups as well. Plus, established A-list brands. I know her because of her master's degree in the visual communication at the IDC IIT Powai, Mumbai. She has 2 decades of experience. If I'm not mistaken, she was also voted as one of the 40 under 40 go-getters across the country in the creative field, that's media, advertising, and marketing. And like our set of speakers today, she's probably the only, thoroughbred professional from the design industry. So welcome, Mayuri. Welcome, Mayuri Kai.
Thank you so much. Great. So I'm just, I know these are crisp and short sessions, which is great, which is amazing. So I'm going to dive right in. Thank you very much for having me. It's always wonderful to be associated with Print Week, and always happy to speak for the cause of print. So without further ado, we'll get into it. Just a little bit about who we are, and I'll start a little bit about Conran Design Group. We are a design-led brand and communications agency. Like you suggested, Ramu, I'm probably one of the few ones representing the people on the other side of the table who sort of are sometimes very demanding from our print partners. Yeah, that's who I represent. And we collaborate with clients to develop and activate meaningful brands. We develop communications that make a difference, and across specialities like strategy, design, communications, activation, which I will shortly walk you through. We have been at the forefront of design, and we've been design influencers since as early as 1957, headquartered in London, but we have offices in New York, and the Mumbai office has opened as recently as early last year in February. And we are very happy to say that it has been a fantastic and phenomenal year one, and we are only looking forward to more amazing work. We enjoy a global reach as being part of Hawass Group, which is then in turn largely owned by the Vivendi Group. Some of you might be aware of the body of work of Sir Terence Conran. He's our founder, and we are very inspired by his body of work, by his philosophy, which is about design. Design's sole purpose is to improve everyday lives, and in that sense, democratizing design to the larger world. It should not remain within a bubble, and design should be used for a greater purpose. And therefore, at our core is this philosophy of designing advantage. We believe in the power of design that helps build brands to create communications that drive strategic and commercial advantage. We use design to inform, inspire, and engage. And I will sort of walk you through some examples that sort of illustrate this. Like I said, as a result of being part of the larger Havas group, we enjoy some partnerships across agencies, across disciplines globally, which allows us to bring different kinds of expertise to the table. And also leveraging this sort of partnership with the Vivendi group, we are able to collaborate and cross-pollinate from domains like music, gaming, the world of cinema, and we have some wonderful collaborative projects that have been a result of these associations. Quick glance at some of our core disciplines. Like I said, brand strategy is at the core of everything that we do, and that's where the seed of brands are laid. That sort of translates to everything that goes further thereon as manifestation. So we support businesses to define and manage their strategic objectives. Naming is a big one these days, and it's a very important part of brand creation. So we actively contribute and lend that expertise to the branding process. Excuse me. Visual identity, of course, it's one of the biggest manifestations of the brand journey, and we've helped create and develop and define some of the world's iconic identities over the last 60 years. Stakeholder communications is an interesting and important one. It may not be as largely consumer facing as some of the other disciplines, but it definitely is important in communicating the purpose and performance of the company. And this also happens largely through print, but is increasingly also having a digital presence. Branded environments where we create consumer and workplace environments, places that inspire all sorts of audiences, both internal as well as external. And of course, packaging, where we design packaging that delivers commercial advantage. It strengthens the connection with the consumer at the point of purchase. And another interesting factor is the aspect of brand guardianship. The brands that you see on the screen right now, we have had long-term partnerships with them for over 15 years with some of them. We work with the corporate brands, we work with the product brands within these, under these corporate brands, and we help them enable, transfer the brand narrative and enable that manifestation years over years. Just a quick glance at some of the clients that we work with, and you can see there are some Indian brands popping up here, and we only hope that those will increase over time. But you can see it's cross-category. There's pharma, there's lifestyle, there's FMCG, and what you see on the bottom right, Zydus, is our very recent case study out of the Mumbai office, which I will walk you through shortly. And therefore, what we uniquely bring to the table is this powerful combination of global expertise with local insights that are very relevant to design solutions in this part of the region. Quickly diving into some of these brand transformations that I have been talking about, starting with Zydus. What you see on the bottom left is Zydus is also a very legacy brand, a leading Indian pharmaceutical brand, as many of you might be aware. And the identity as it existed before existed since over 27 years. So that was also a very strong legacy, a very strong visual presence that they had already built years on years. But the times are different, consumer requirements are different, especially in the last 2 years, we've seen how important a role pharma companies have played in the lives of consumers. And therefore, the narrative had to move from being providers of medicine to enablers of a better lifestyle, to enablers of better health. Again, through this whole exercise of brand strategy, we came up with the new renewed brand purpose, which is to empower people with the freedom to live healthier and more fulfilled lives. And then the transformation does not happen only to the mother brand, it percolates to the entire brand ecosystem. And that is the entire idea that the single-minded brand narrative gets translated across, and it comes across as a unified, cohesive brand presence. And through various assets, color being the most important one, especially in the forum that we're talking about today, how it gets manifested and what it really connotes. So we chose contemporary modern colors that stood for the two pillars of the brand, of innovation and nurturance, that brought this alive, along with some other building blocks like iconography, like design devices, photography, and even a tone of voice that would all come together to create the single-minded brand narrative. And then just a quick glance at how the brand has been translated across touch points, both digital as well as print, as well as signage and outdoors, employee as well as consumer facing communication, artifacts, as well as certain basic things like corporate stationery. And as we speak, the brand is being rolled out through a comprehensive guideline manual to the larger team, which will then take forward this particular brand universe in a cohesive manner. So that was Zydus. And coming to another big pharmaceutical brand, a global brand called Teva. This is a very interesting packaging case study that I always like talking about. So Teva is a global a global pharma brand, and their generic portfolio boasts of over 40,000 SKUs. And this is what they looked like earlier, due to acquisition, due to organic growth. It had just grown without having, again, a single-minded brand presence that would help leverage the brand sort of equity in the consumer's minds. And interestingly, for a pharma brand, their largest touch point with the consumer, with the end sort of user, is most often than not packaging. And therefore, we took upon this task of creating a patient-centric brand. I mean, of course, through packaging, the idea always is to premiumize, is to make packaging a little more attractive, aesthetic, to bring in a brand narrative. But like I said, design should also be solving problems. So we also wanted to solve the problem of making this a little more friendly for the patients, not just patients, but chemists, nurses, doctors. There's a whole universe of people who end up using packaging that is from pharma brands. And what we devised for Teva is this very interesting sort of navigational system, which we call the Teva solar system, where if you consider the mother brand to be the central sun, and then there are brands that sit very close to the sun that heavily borrow from the mother brand visual codes. And as you go further, you start reducing the codes of the mother brand, and the codes of the product brand or the categories start getting more and more enhanced. But having said that, what you get at the end of it is a single-minded, cohesive, sort of one narrative brand, which makes navigation easy for the user. They know exactly where to look for the format, for the grammage. As and how it gets a little more consumer facing, there are elements and aspects that come about which help them make decisions in a faster and easier way. And of course, the bottom rung, like I said, sort of builds this partnership of product brands or legacy brands very beautifully with the mother brand. And then it does not this transformation does not stay limited just to packaging. It then gets transferred, it then should rather be woven across touch points like digital, like communication, like product interventions, so on and so forth. I would like to point out one very interesting case study here, which is from the light endorsement of the Teva universe. And as you can see, that the big challenge here was to translate this very beautiful, layered, complex graphic that existed on the carton to the tube. And unfortunately, what happens in cases like these is the carton gets discarded, and what stays for a long time with the consumer is the inner tube. And then therefore the onus comes on design to be able to create this ownable elements, to create elements that are a stripped down version of the outer, to be able to sort of take forward the brand narrative as well as not lose the brand recall. So we are always seeking solutions. We are always looking for ways in which this bridge can be gapped, where this translation can become a lot more seamless, a lot more smoother, and we don't have to take sort of the shorter road for solutions like these. And this is also increasingly going to happen for a lot of, because we do work in a lot of healthcare, and pharma packaging ranges across formats, across substrates, across printing technologies. And this is always one of the challenges to seamlessly, translate that one visual treatment, one color across the entire portfolio. So that was Teva. And which brings me to the last example within the universe of Danone. Danone is also a brand transformation case study out of the stables of Conrad Design Group. We transform their identity to sort of bring to life their new positioning called One Planet, One Health. And as you can see, the language becomes a lot more approachable, a lot more friendly through the treatments and typefaces. But what I really want to talk about is a product brand under the Danone universe called Cow and Gate, which is an iconic brand in the baby food domain in the UK. What you see on the left is the portfolio as it existed before, and what you see on the right is, of course, the redesigned version. And these kind of requirements definitely come from the client, where we need to retain certain degree of familiarity from the previous version, so that we don't lose the certain iconic treatments, certain association in the consumer's minds about the brand, but you infuse a certain degree of contemporariness, you infuse a certain degree of premiumness while retaining certain codes. And again, the challenge here was quite similar. You can see it had to be translated across various formats, across various substrates, and then retaining those colors, retaining those treatments. And what happens is the minute you start moving away from a photographic treatment, which existed in the previous version, you come to more flatter colors, you come to sort of more softer treatments. In this case, it had this sort of watercolor touch. It becomes that much more important for the consistency, for the color matching to happen. And in this case, we had to completely work without the use of black, which was another challenge in itself to solve, but this was successfully managed in the end. And again, a closer look just at some of these examples. Like I said, the textures in the illustrations, the softness, it all has to come alive, because all this looks beautiful and wonderful when we are creating it on the system, but it really does not mean anything if it's not translated as well as it has been envisaged at the time of creation. And like I said, then the assets don't stay limited to a certain touch point. It gets translated across the life cycle, across the ecosystem of the brand through various domains. So it could be different print versions other than packaging through which the brand needs to come alive, and therefore then again retain this degree of consistency and cohesiveness. And just a quick glance at another further product, range extension within Cow and Gate, which was a sub-brand called A2. This was a premiumized version of Cow and Gate, the base range. And again, the challenge here was, how do you bring about the premiumness from something that already looks premium enough? And again, the challenges here was, without the access to things like embossing, foils, or special inks, we had to sort of use, design elements, use gradients and stuff like that to bring out the touches of silver that we wanted to on the pack. And again, just a quick look at how the brand translates, then not just stays on the packaging, but other touch points and other communication elements. So that was a very quick ride, a very quick journey of who we are and what we are doing through a few examples. We are really looking forward to collaborate with these amazing print partners, the one that we just saw before this talk, and even others, where we can enhance, sort of bring about these visualizations, these brand narratives, bring them to life in a much more impactful way. So really looking forward to seeing all of that happen and collaborating with print partners and clients alike to make this come alive. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Mayuri. I think wonderful advice for printers and packaging business owners of how to work with clients and how they should translate their technology clout into a powerful brand strategy. Good tips about the role of design thinking with the Teva Olfen example as well. One question for you though, Mayuri. Do you think packaging is at times over-engineered? And if yes, can you cite an example?
I think we all agree to that. I don't need to be an expert in the industry to say whether packaging is over-engineered, because e-commerce has been, it has grown exponentially, especially during the time of the pandemic. People have ordered so many things home, and e-commerce packaging has been the talk of all our lives in the past 2 years. And every time I would receive a parcel, of course that is changing now, but every time I would receive a parcel and I would feel, why does this small tiny thing need to be wrapped in a foil, in an outer carton, which is then packed in an outer brown box? So definitely these are the things that have a huge scope of intervention, that have a huge scope of improvement. Even smaller things, like I said, pharma packaging, or some of the other examples where we see sometimes the inner is a really small bottle. So therefore, to have a larger branding area, brands prefer to have a little bit of over engineering, a little bit of more real estate to be able to create that. But I think it will be interesting to investigate and see if there are any other ways to make this come alive without, and also then that reduces the use of material, and then that's also helping the larger cause of not putting in more material into the world. So that is about the structure, but also quickly touching upon the packaging treatments. Sometimes the over engineering also happens in the terms of the printing effects that one is using. Just because you have the scope doesn't mean we do the foil stamping and the texture and the holographic and everything. So again, coming from a point of view of brand strategy, coming from a point of view of a thought process, what is it that really your brand requires to make that statement? So yes, I mean, I think the over engineering definitely needs some degree of investigation to see how that can be improved upon.
Thank you, Mayuri. One takeaway for me from your presentation is that design should solve problems. And thank you once again.
Thank you, Sriram. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Team Print Week.
Thank you. Our next presenter is Pune-based Sahil Rao, who is the director of Akriti Print Solutions and Unbox. Sahil Rao started his journey in print back in 2011. Sahil studied printmaking with a local family in a small town of Germany called Biberach. After getting hands-on experience with the traditional print techniques, he returned to India to take over the family-owned business. After working in the commercial printing business for about a year, he thought of exploring new areas to maintain the required growth and innovation of the company. This is when he founded Unbox, a bespoke luxury packaging company. Sahil will share with us the Unbox journey. Welcome, Sahil.
Thanks a lot. And first of all, I would like to thank Print Week India for giving me this opportunity to share my views on the packaging industry, to showcase some of the projects we are doing at Unbox. So we started Unbox 5 years ago and have been focusing on manufacturing of luxury packaging. While on the other hand, Akriti Print Solutions focuses on commercial print business. Today, I'm going to talk about 3 simple packaging projects which marked a new beginning for us in certain ways. As we all know, during the lockdown, many of us have started ordering things online, and online shopping rate has more than doubled in the last 2 years. And with this, the packaging is playing a crucial role in delivering these products to individuals. Now, many clients are investing a lot of time and efforts to really develop a better packaging to compete in their industry. I think with this, it's really important for us to deliver a quality product. And in order to achieve a better quality, we always think that it is best to try and use a good quality raw material. More than 50% of the quality issues, I think, taken care there. Paper, board, ink, I think tends to play a major ingredient, but even for small things like a good quality adhesive or tapes, magnets, films play a major role. And we also try to invest in technologies like better technologies to reduce the turnaround time and to achieve a better quality. So the first product which I'm going to talk about today is for an export order. We have done few exports in the past, but all of them were small orders, or the client was in India who then shipped it abroad. But a year back, we had developed a top-bottom rigid box for a saxophone instrument. It was for an export client, and it was a decently high-priced order where the customer was in New York and the designer lived in Paris. We did a lot of proofings and shipped these boxes to the respective countries many a times. After almost trying for a year, we finally, after just few months back, we got a PO from them for this really challenging packaging. The box has two Pantone colors of red and maroon throughout the box, as you can see over here. And it has a very critical design with a lot of running elements that was challenges for during the wrapping of the paper. So as you can see over here, like all these lines and all these things need to be really matched properly. And it has a lot of gold foiling and spot UV on the top tray. So like almost all the logos are spot UV'd over here. And you can see a lot of foiling which is running around. And to give it a better unboxing experience, we had curated a 2-tier compartment of EVA foam pasted on a 300 GSM ITC card in the base tray. So the top would smoothly slide down just like an iPhone box, and the product would get revealed in the top compartment. So over here, they had the ligature of the saxophone. And after lifting the top compartment, you would reach the base compartment where you would generally find the accessories and the manual over here. You can see it over here. So there's this frame, and then we have done like a foam and a ITC pasted paper. So we produced about 10,000 boxes of these. And this marked our journey of a sizable export order, and was the first job that we carried out on our new box wrapping machine. So coming to the second product, the second product was for a client who manufactures and sells Ayurvedic herbal cigarettes called Temburini. We regularly do the primary packaging for these cigarettes. So it's something like this. So all these hand-rolled cigarettes go into these packets. And he wanted to make a gifting carton, gift pack of these cartons. So as every client asked for, he also wanted something unique and out of the box concept, which no one has done before. So we started to brainstorm and discovered that these cigarettes are unique, not only because it does not have tobacco in it, but it's because of the herbs which are used in it. So we thought it would be the best if we can actually give a look and feel of the herbs onto the paper and onto the box rather. So we developed a paper with Pune Handmade Paper Institute, which has all those herbs that goes into the cigarettes. We did a few trials and found out some of the herbs are leaking oil onto the paper. So once the paper was dried, a lot of herbs used to leak oil. So you can see all these stains, like all these oil stains over here. So it wouldn't make a great product out of it. So we had to cut down on the quantity of those herbs and had to add a few other herbs to fill the blank spaces. So after a few trials, we cracked the recipe to make the right paper using the herb. Since the herbs on the box is a lot to talk about the brand and about the cigarettes, we simply gold foil stamped the logo on the top and produced around 2,000 handmade magnetic locking rigid boxes, which will contain 3 cigarette packs. So over here, you can see the paper has been made from the actual herbs which go into the cigarettes. And we screen printed a stamp lookalike design on the back of the box, which talks about the handmade herb, handmade paper, which is made from the herbs. So this packaging marked our journey of working in-house on the design as well as the concept behind it. And we also executed this order in-house. And then coming back to our third product, which was for a luxury jewelry and a home decor brand, which went on for almost 3 years. And we have finally been successful in completing it in the last week. We were asked to produce boxes which can hold large gold plated idols like horses, tigers, Buddhas, and stuff like that. So it was a simple top bottom box, but having the size of around 2.5 feet by 2 feet by around 1 feet. So this is how big the box is. And these boxes were going to get shipped around the globe. So we tried to produce a few samples, but these sizes didn't fit on any of our machine. So we had to break down the paper and board into pieces to fit on our printing, lamination, and the V-grooving machine. Keeping in mind that the wrapping of these pieces onto the board shouldn't look like a patchy work and should look like one piece. So as you can see over here, these are two different papers on the edges. This is a different paper and this is a different paper that we have pasted. It's not like a single paper which has been wrapped. But give it a better finish, the way we have created is this paper has been pasted first and this has been pasted second with the use of gumming, and it's like a pre-glued paper that we use for it. So basically, so after 3 years, it took us 3 years after we submitted this finished sample. The client really liked it, but needed a lot of foam packing inside so that the product doesn't get damaged in transit. They didn't want the product to be seen immediately after opening the box and wanted a layer of branding on top. So we came up with this kind of concept. So I'm showing you a smaller version of this box, so it's easier to hold. The client had a requirement for 4 sizes in total, and all the 4 boxes should look exactly the same apart from its size. So we came up with a solution where we paste EVA foam to all the sides of the box and make the top layer detachable with a print on it. Like you can see over again, there's this ITC pasted on EVA foam, and this can be removed. And over here they had like an accordion, like a booklet, which talks about the brand and about the product inside. So the client really liked the idea and did a drop test along with the product inside, and discovered that the product is absolutely safe and secured in this box. So till the time all these trials and price negotiation happened, it had been almost 1 year. We then got the order to produce 500 boxes. We did that within a month's time, but the client asked us to deliver only 200 boxes, just like a part delivery, but promised to take the other half within another month. So to deliver these 500 boxes, it generally takes about 5 like big Aisha trucks of 6 tons. So we were still left with 3 truckloads of boxes. And a nightmare to that was first COVID wave. So we had no space to store these boxes. So I rented out a godown space. And after the first wave of COVID, the client was in no mood of procuring the remaining boxes. We tried to convince him for months to take the boxes. And before he could send us the confirmation, we were hit with the second wave. So the client had shut down his major shops till now, and we were in a spot. It took us a year, but we finally convinced him to take the remaining boxes, and those last 3 trucks finally left the godown last week. So this packaging order taught us many things, especially on staying strong on our terms. And it also marked our journey of making largest box in the company till date. So the things that I learned from doing all these orders are that a lot of things depends on the kind of marketing you do. So people are still spending a lot on packaging. I think you just need to give them the right product. And we have definitely started facing a lot of competition and price issues in a regular paper carton industry. So I think it's best to try to provide with some embellishment to crack the order. And after all this, I can definitely say that there cannot be a better time to be in the packaging business. And in future, our aim is to have a wider range of products so we can cater to all kinds of industries. And mainly, we are not focusing on manufacturing everything in-house, but I think outsourcing is going to be a major tool or a major weapon, I would say, in the coming years. And since it's the Ink Week, the only thing I can say is that ink industry is really innovating in a lot of ways. But further to it, if we can see some more applications of metallized or specialty inks on a sheet-fed non-UV offset press, then I think it can reduce the cost to acquire high-end presses. So yeah, that's all from my side. And thanks a lot once again.
Again, wonderful sharing, Sahil. The journey of the last assignment is like a Hollywood film with a happy ending, especially when the 3 trucks must have left your godown.
Yeah, everything goes bad at the start, but it's a happy ending. I think it's like a Bollywood movie for sure.
That is true. That is true. I have a question for you. about the top-bottom rigid box for a saxophone instrument for an export client you mentioned, right? You said the customer was in NYC and the designer lived in Paris. The question is, how did you manage the proofings and what was the logistics of shipping boxes to these respective countries? How long did this process take and how many versions before you finally bagged the order?
Yeah, so I think so I think lockdown really helped it, because post lockdown everyone started doing Zoom calls, Zoom meetings, and so I think that was really easy for everyone, and everyone was comfortable communicating that way. And I think we did about 3 proofings, like where we actually had to change the Pantone colors, the foiling changed, the spotty we changed, and it was an expensive way to go, because I think we spent almost 2 lakhs just in the transit, because 2 boxes had to be shipped to New York, 2 boxes had to ship to Paris, and one another designer who was implementing few things was in Pune. So it was a pretty expensive affair, but I think overall it didn't matter much. Like if you see a larger picture, then I think it really worked well.
Thank you, Sahil. My takeaway from the session was how to achieve better quality by using good and innovative quality raw materials. For example, the handmade paper from the Institute in Pune. Loved your presentation. Lai abar, as they would say in Marathi.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Sahil. Our next presenter is KG Sharma, Director, Miraj Multicolor. Sharma joins us from Udaipur, a commerce graduate and associated with Miraj Group for the last 25 years. He established the packaging and printing business of the group. Miraj Multicolor started with commercial, diversified into stationery and packaging, monocartons and corrugation under his leadership. In 2022, Miraj Multicolor is expecting to notch a turnover of rupees 150 crores from the packaging and printing business. Please welcome KG Sharma.
Thank you, PrintWeek team. Give me such opportunity. We are from a small city like Udaipur. It's a tourist place, not a business hub, where we established the packaging plant. Basically, I introduced my group, Miraj Group. Miraj Group is a big group. It's like tobacco is major business, and retail, film production, cinemas, and pipes and fitting, constructions, orionators. In film division, we are in 4th position in India. In pipes and fitting, we are leading company is Rajasthan. And in packaging, we are starting, our company started in 1995. Then we are in commercial production and all things, books, writing, printing, and notebook, stationery, such type production, and B2C type facilities we have. 2013 we have started packaging business, और 2013 में हमने जब पैकेजिंग स्टार्ट किया तो उसके बाद हमने फर्स्टली फोकस किया कि पैकेजिंग उदयपुर में चलेगा कैसे. एक स्मॉल टाउन है, बिजनेस हब है नहीं, वो सारी, और इंडस्ट्री में भी जितने भी हमने रिव्यू लिए तो उस रिव्यू में ये आएगा आप उदयपुर में प्रिंटिंग इंडस्ट्री अगर पैकेजिंग करते हो तो आपके लिए ये बड़ा डिफिकल्ट टास्क रहेगा और आपका ये सर्वाइव नहीं करेगा इंडस्ट्री. तो 2013 में हमने पैकेजिंग का प्लांट शुरू किया. उसके साथ हमने प्रिंटिंग का पूरा सेटअप, ब्रांड न्यू हेडलबर्ग बॉक्स, तो सारी चीजें ली. उसके बाद हमने इंडस्ट्री टू इंडस्ट्री हमने उस पर फोकस्ड किया. तो फर्स्ट हमारा फोकस था सर इसमें आइसक्रीम इंडस्ट्री में हमने पूरा सर्वे किया कि उसमें एक्चुअल में आइसक्रीम इंडस्ट्री में क्या प्रॉब्लम्स आती है उनको. आइसक्रीम इंडस्ट्री इज ए सीजनल बेस्ड इंडस्ट्री, तो उसमें कस्टमर्स को उसकी डिमांड अचानक से बढ़ती है, अचानक से डाउन होती है. तो उसकी क्या है, उसकी सप्लाईज इश्यू क्या है, क्या नहीं है. तो हमने सबसे पहले हमने आइसक्रीम इंडस्ट्री को केटर किया और विद इन 1 or 2 years we are the leading supplier in the all ice cream industry. All we recently we have all brands: Amul, Mother Dairy, Creamwell, Vadilal, Hemo, Top and Town, Dinsha. और आज की डेट में हम सब जगह मास्टर सप्लायर्स हैं. और हमने जो भी आज की हमारा जो प्लांट है वो वर्ल्ड क्लास प्लांट है. आज की डेट में मैं तो सारे पैनलिस्ट को कहता हूं, जब भी आप टूरिस्ट में फैमिली के साथ उदयपुर आए, आप 15 मिनट निकालिए, हमारे प्लांट का विजिट कीजिए. आपको लगेगा ये प्लांट आपका इंडिया में इस टाइप का प्लांट भी हो सकता है। यू कांट अमेजिंग कि आपका इस टाइप का प्लांट इंडिया में, वो भी उदयपुर जैसी सिटी में, जो पैकेजिंग इंडस्ट्री से दूर दूर तक कोई रिलेशन नहीं है इसका, ना बिजनेस हब है, ना कुछ भी नहीं है। आज भी हमारा जो भी क्लाइंट बेस है वो ऑल ओवर इंडिया है। यहाँ पे कुछ भी मेरा सराउंडिंग 200 किलोमीटर में एक भी क्लाइंट नहीं है, फिर भी हम 5 विद इन वीक वी आर सप्लाइंग ऑल ओवर इंडिया। तो आज की डेट में सारे ब्रांड्स हम काम कर रहे हैं, और हमारा जो विजन है वो है आने वाले 4 से 5 सालों में हमें टॉप 3 पैकेजिंग प्लेयर्स में शामिल होना है। किसके साथ? प्रोवाइडिंग इनोवेटिव पैकेजिंग सॉल्यूशन, एनहांस कस्टमर वैल्यू, कंसिस्टेंसी, इंक्रीज बिजनेस विद आवर एग्जिस्टिंग क्लाइंट्स, acquire new customer, new geographical area and other segments, and also adding one corrugation plant in this year ending, and we are also planning in flexible packaging. Build ethical and sustainable business for all stakeholders, invest new technologies. Recently we are invest in 2 new lines with CX104 already finalized and install in one in July and second one in November 2022. और स्ट्रेंथ, हम रिमोट में बैठ के भी हमारी स्ट्रेंथ है आज की डेट में प्लांट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर से, फिर ऑल टेक्नोलॉजीज, वी आर फुल्ली ऑपरेटेड बाय SAP, कंप्लीट कस्टमर इंक्वायरी टू डिस्पैच, कंप्लीट AI प्रोसेस पे हमने काफी काम किया है अभी इन दिनों में, और उसके साथ फुली एक्सपीरियंस, डेडिकेटेड और कॉन्फिडेंट टीम है हमारे पास आज की डेट में, स्ट्रॉन्ग रिप्रेजेंटेशन है हमारे सारे क्लाइंट्स के साथ में, और टाइमली सप्लाईज। दिस इज लास्ट पॉइंट, इज टाइमली सप्लाई इज मस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट इन पैकेजिंग इंडस्ट्री, बिकॉज वी आर इन सर्विस इंडस्ट्री। हमारा बॉक्स होता है 2 रुपए का, 3 रुपए का, 5 रुपए का। सामने वाले का अगर प्रोडक्शन रुकता है तो नेक्स्ट सप्लाई डिपेंड ऑन आवर बिजनेस, फुली डिपेंड ऑन आवर सप्लाईज। तो वो हमने पूरा कर रखा है। और उसके साथ लास्ट 2 ईयर में कोरोना पीरियड ने काफी चीजें हमें सिखाई, कुछ लर्निंग्स हैं जो मैं आपके साथ शेयर करना चाहता हूं। तो हमने शुरू से एज ए हमारी ग्रुप की पॉलिसी रही है कि हमेशा एम्प्लॉय को एज ए एसेट्स, मैन पावर को, ह्यूमन कैपिटल पे हमने ज्यादा काम किया है। तो हमने उसका अभी बेनिफिट्स जो था, या जो भी हम कहें उसका, ये जो मेमोरेबल मोमेंट है वो आपसे करता हूं कि हमारी यूनिट पैकेजिंग अपना जो 2 साल में आपके विद इन 12 to 13 मंथ्स कोविड का वो रहा, पीक पीरियड रहा, उसमें हमारे इसमें इवन सिंगल डेज मैन पावर का प्रॉब्लम हमारे साथ नहीं हुआ, क्योंकि हमने हमेशा एम्प्लॉय को एज ए हमारी एसेट समझा। उसके साथ उनकी सारी रिक्वायरमेंट जो भी है, हमने हमारा टर्न अराउंड देखेंगे तो 1 to 2% ओनली इन हेल्पर्स कैटेगरी, नॉट ए मैनेजर्स लेवल। जो भी लोग हमसे जुड़े हैं आज भी डे 1 से आज तक हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, और उन्हीं के साथ प्रमोशंस और उनकी सारी जो भी प्रॉब्लम्स है, उनकी ट्रेनिंग्स, डोमेस्टिक, इंटरनेशनल, जो भी जिस टाइप की जो ट्रेनिंग्स रिक्वायर्ड है वो सब हम उनकी फुलफिल करते हैं। और उस टाइम में हमने आज की डेट में प्रिंटिंग में ऑल ओवर द थ्रू आउट द इंडस्ट्री 3 से 4% आपका वेस्टेज होता है। हमारा आज की डेट में पास्ट 1 ईयर से वेस्टेज परसेंटेज लेस देन 2% है। तो उससे क्या होता है, हमारा एबिटा इंक्रीज हुआ है। एबिटा और प्रॉफिट सारा इस सच सिनेरियो में आज की डेट में जहां पेपर्स की अवेलेबिलिटीज इश्यू है, सारे इश्यूज है, उस समय अगर आपके पेपर में आपका कंट्रोल नहीं है, वो आपका एवरी डेज अप एंड डाउन हो रहा, अप हो रहा, डाउन का तो अभी कोई चांस नहीं है लास्ट 2 ईयर से। तो उससे होते हुए तो आज हमने एबिटा इंक्रीज करने के लिए कैपेसिटी के साथ साथ हमने सिस्टम पे भी काफी काम किया है। ये जो ब्रांड्स हैं वो सारे हम उदयपुर से ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं आज की डेट में। हमें प्राउड है कि हम इस टूरिस्ट सिटी में बैठ के भी ऑल ओवर इंडिया हमारा प्रेजेंस है, और सारे ब्रांड्स सेटिस्फाइड है मिराज के साथ। हमें आज की डेट में भी मैं 2 लाइन्स ला रहा हूँ, वो ऑलरेडी मेरी ऑक्यूपाइड है कस्टमर्स के साथ, ऑलरेडी हमारा पूरा टाई अप हो रखा है, सारा है। ऑल कस्टमर हैप्पी विथ मिराज, ये हमारा प्रेजेंस है ऑल ओवर इंडिया। आवर कमिटमेंट 5 to 7 days एनीवेयर अक्रॉस द नेशन सप्लायर। Thank you giving me such opportunity and show up from the city of historical city Udaipur. Thank you so much, PrintWeek team.
Thank you so much, sir. That is wonderful sharing. 3 key takeaways for us: reducing wastage from nearly 3% to 1.98%, and SAP implementation plus the work on skill development in your team. I'm impressed with is how Mirage has established itself as a leading supplier of mono cartons and lids in the ice cream division and become a master supplier for many companies. What little I know about ice cream packaging as a seasonal based sector, it is a tough segment. One quick question for you, sir. One problem with ice cream cartons and other freezer food container is that the polyethylene lining means that these papers are more resistant to the pulping process. What do you say to that?
Can't understand, sir.
So in the sense, the ice cream cartons and other food containers, the polyethylene lining is available, is used there. So means these papers are more resistant to the pulping process, right? It's okay, sir. So let me simply ask you, am I audible now? So if I can simply put it, what do you think? Can these ice cream cartons be recycled in the green bin?
Not hearable.
Okay, no problem, sir. Thank you so much and all the best for your target 600 crores.
Fine.
Yeah. Our next presenter is Shail Patel, Director, Gujarat Print Pack Publication, who joins us from Mehsana. Shail Patel holds a print media degree from Rochester Institute. He is the third generation of the Patel family to join the print business, which was founded by Patel's grandfather, Ambubai, and his son, Ashish, in 1994. The company, which started as a small printing and publishing company, has today grown to be one of the leading packaging companies of Gujarat. The company operates from 2 plants in Mehsana and Gujarat and is equipped with offset and flexo presses, a slew of inspection, converting, and finishing equipment. Shail is using his print media degree from Rochester Institute as a peg to make the most of the technology and peers. Since joining the business in 2013, he has taken charge of most of the packaging and labeling side of the business. The company has recently established a label company in Kenya. For Shail, innovation is an essential element in print. Welcome, Shail.
Yeah, thank you, Shriram. Thank you. That was a wonderful introduction. I don't think I could do better. And thank you, Print Week, for providing this wonderful platform. And for all of us here, I hope you've had a good 4 days with all of this knowledge base in one place. You know, it's such a wonderful thing. Let me just get started. Just to give a quick introduction of Gujarat Print Pack, although Shriram covered it well. We manufacture pressure sensitive labels. We make shrink sleeves, in-mold labels, mono cartons, shipper boxes, and soon we are about to venture into short-run laminates and pouches. So that's one project that we are, quite keen on. Okay. Just talking a little bit on inks, because this is Ink Week, and inks they often take a backstage for printers. They're usually not the primary concern for most of us printers and converters. And even looking back in history, paper has always, alternatives to paper have always been readily available. The Egyptian civilization, they used papyrus. The Mohenjo-daro had clay tablets. The cavemen drew on rocks. And even the ancient Chinese, they started drawings on cotton far before they invented the paper. So paper alternatives are plentiful, but really you cannot replace inks. Now, even though printers, we are not concerned about inks, but we do need to appreciate that the reason we are not too concerned about them is the high level of standardization and the high level of quality which most of our ink manufacturers maintain. So I would like to start off my session by giving my thanks to all of our ink manufacturers and suppliers. What we do really would not be possible without you. So today, through my presentation, I would really like to highlight the importance of innovation and standardization. So these are two things which are really vital with inks. Through innovation, you grasp, I like to say that through innovation, you grasp the hearts of your clients, and through standardization, you ensure that they don't grasp your wallets. So my first show and tell is the dilemma that one of our leading apparel companies faced. Becoming a leader has not been easy for them. Billions of rupees have been spent, thousands of employees, decades of building trust have brought them to this stage. And they've invested a tremendous amount of time and money into building this brand and building its recognition around the globe. They also work in an industry with some of the toughest competition. Their customers, the end users, have nearly infinite options when it comes to apparel. But at the same time, the customers also are very quality and value conscious. Any perceived loss of the quality or of the value, it can lead to a very quick loss of the customer loyalty. So this, and also at the same time, the industry is notoriously easy and lucrative for copycats. So for a company that has built their values, their foundations on brand value, the greatest fear is that of counterfeit. And it can be highly off-putting for their own customers to see that the apparel that they bought is being sold at a fraction of the value on a black market or on the side of the street. So, and this is really where the customer can tap into the power of printing and the power of inks and the innovation in our industry. So there are plethora of options available to ward off counterfeiters. So here the first one you have is coin reactive inks, which remain invisible until they are rubbed by a coin. These type of inks deploy a special metal reactive compound, an additive, which enables the darkening of the pigment when rubbed with a metal. Next, we have a range of invisible inks in which the pigments remain dormant until activated by a light with a special wavelength. The third thing with pressure sensitive labels, there are special categories of inks which allow the ink to be compatible with adhesives. So this grade of ink, it enables the creation of void labels, which are a quite effective overt counterfeit feature. Now, an additional line of defense, it can come from specialty pigments. These patented pigments, you can only procure them with sophisticated purchase agreements, which make them highly secure. These are contracts between the printer, the end buyer, and the manufacturer of the pigments. Then you also have photochromic and thermochromic inks. These are inks, and so with these inks, the color changes only when they are exposed to specific temperatures or specific wavelengths of light, for example, UV light or invisible light. And then last but not the least, we have scratch-off inks, which can provide a quite quick visual deterrent for any text or data that maybe it's not printed and that may be printed underneath it. These special grades of inks have a built-in inhibitor, which basically prevents the ink from bonding with the substrate. Okay. So all of this, these specialty inks, this is what we put together into one label for the apparel company. It's a project well under process. So all of these products that we have put together here, we hope that our customer can sleep peacefully at night. As you can see in this label, we've brought together a lot of security features. Starting from the top left corner, we have printed microtext, which requires a perfect coordination between the inks, the analoxes, the print pressure, and a lot more. Next, we have a pantogram, which uses a special fluorescent ink, and it only reveals the text under a specially ruled line drawing. Then we also have coin reactive inks and a special hologram, which also has to be customized. And again, it can only be supplied by a special contract. Further, we have some thermochromic inks, which lose color when rubbed by hand. These are specially customized to be reactive to 35 degrees Celsius, so that when you rub it with your thumb, the ink becomes invisible. Then we also have a photochromic element, which only displays the text when it is exposed to sunlight. Here we also have a special pigment, which is patented and manufactured by Merck. And then finally, we have a variable data QR code, which is hidden underneath the scratch of ink. And of course, the QR code is linked to a database to allow for some security features. It also allows the end user, by scanning the QR code, the end user is able to verify the genuinity of the product. So with the combination of all of these, we have ensured that the customer is truly satisfied. But again, satisfaction is not enough. So in order to delight the customer, we have included a variable data QR code. And what this does is that it allows the customer to really interact with the manufacturer of the product, so that the brand owners, at the end of the day, the brand owners are able to collect valuable demographics information. And without collecting personal details and personal information, the brand owner can really tap into the data set on its customer and the way they behave, and they can really make some good marketing decisions based on this. And finally, standardization, which is what saves the money in your pockets. We of course know that standardization is the key to repeatability, and excuse me, and that repeatability is of course the key to profitability. So as a case study, I'll just share our own experience with setting up a good ink kitchen and trying to standardize the inks. The process, it really starts with setting the goal. So what is it that you want to achieve from an ink room standardization? And we really had 3 goals. The first one was working with glued clientele. The key requirements are on color management and on repeatability. So that was the primary, pushing force for this. The second one was to reduce the machine time, the material wastage, as well as the resource wastage, which usually comes when we are trying to match a color on press. What we end up doing is we end up making multiple trials, wasting the time on the press. All of this can be eliminated by doing these going through these procedures offline. And the third is, of course, to improve the efficiencies. And the way that we set about achieving these goals is, the key thing when you want to do something like this is to really work with your ink suppliers. They know inks in and out. They know the ink kitchens in and out. They have experience implementing these kind of projects many times. So the first thing is to find a good supplier and to really work with them and take their support. The second is to really invest in the proper hardware and the proper software. So this can include the inventory management software, the spectrophotometer, the ink drawdown kits, and the curing solutions. And finally, the third key element, which sometimes we do not focus as much on, is the training. That's really the heart of ink standardization, inks, the color management and ink standardization. And as with any new workflow, training is critical. And again, in this respect, our valuable suppliers, they can be our greatest assets. So that's it from my side. Shriram, thank you very much. I hope I've been able to add something worthwhile to this platform. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Shail. And again, a lot of takeaways.
Yeah.
I want to bring up something you've been doing. At your Mehsana factory, you've engaged in a substrate, ink, and varnish standardization project for a global company, you said. The customer had specification for 8 different grades of varnishes, more than 12 grades of substrates, and 3 grades of inks.
Right.
So you help them to bring this down to 2 grades of varnishes, 3 grades of substrate, and 1 grade of ink. Yeah. So how did you manage to do that?
So lots and lots of meetings and lots of trying to convince them, giving them presentations on this is the amount of savings. Unfortunately, sometimes it does come down to the amount of savings that you're able to pass on to your customers. And in this case, it was a significant savings, an amount which upper management could not say no to.
So is this because of the SOP or the standard operating procedures you have deployed? You mentioned third point in your presentation of training and mastering the tools and to deploy these tools. Are they all interconnected?
Yeah, of course. So, like I said, with standardization, you get repeatability. And with repeatability and with ease of repeatability, you get savings on costs, savings on wastages and all of that. So certainly that's a part of it.
Okay. What is your training approach, Shail? We usually have one master printer, but the knowledge rarely trickles down, right?
Yeah, I agree, Sriram. That's a critical. Training is, of course, the way you move forward. There were times when, even in our own company, with my father having taken up this business, he was the one who traveled the world. He was the one who went to all the exhibitions. He knew everything. But then for it to trickle down, you need to have regular trainings. You need to have a standard operating procedure even for trainings. So that has been key for us, and we make it a point to have a training schedule for the upcoming year all well in advance, and we try to stick to it as much as possible.
Thank you, Shail. One more question, this time from Mansi Gupta. She's our young printing technologist in part of the Print Week team. Mansi asks, fashion garments, as you've said, are of course some of the most reproduced products. And some say the huge growth in the printing textile market, the increasingly affordable cost of direct-to-garment printers, and the explosion in online trading is fueling a murky underworld in India. Without disclosing the trade secrets, is it possible to counter the counterfeiting going on in Surat, Ludhiana, Tirupur, Kanpur, etc.? Do you?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. With counterfeiting and with trying to avoid being counterfeit, it's always Tom and Jerry kind of a thing. You're always trying to stay ahead of the counterfeiters, and they're always trying to chase you. So, but it needs to be a team effort. It needs to be a push from the end users, from the person buying it, as well as from the person converting or manufacturing the product. And printing, of course, plays a very big role as long as the industry is willing to accept it. Printing can play a very big role in anti-counterfeit features. Here, I hope I was able to demonstrate a product which is a good application of this. But with this, we are confident that with all the anti-counterfeit features, that we have put up a product which is 99% ahead of the curve. So for any counterfeiter to find all of these features and to replicate it, it would be very, very difficult. But again, it needs to be a push on all fronts.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking all these questions as well, Shail.
Thank you.
I now invite Anoop Venugopal, Technical Director of Anaswara Offset. Anoop joins us from Kochi. He's a technocrat, BE in printing technology from Manipal Institute of Technology, and topped with an MBA from Kingston University, London. Anaswara Offset is a 40-year-old professionally managed printing and packaging company with 2 manufacturing units. Anaswara was awarded the Best Printer of the Year 2019 by AIFMP for excellence in quality printing. Anoop is also part of the syllabus committee, which helps in technical training of young students for additional skill acquisition program, Kerala government. Anoop has been a G7 expert and he likes to spread knowledge for the betterment of all stakeholders in the industry. Also, he's on the advisory board of Future Schools Cochin, an organization which works in making print exciting for young millennials. Welcome, Anoop Cheta. You are on mute, Anoop.
Yes, thank you, Sriram, for that wonderful introduction. And it has been a long journey being in printing. The time flies because you're so much involved in the day-to-day activities. So today is Ink Week, and I'll be presenting how ink has literally helped us reach thus far. So this is my company, Anashwara Offset Private Limited. We are a full spectrum printing and packaging solution company. And we have been creating everlasting impressions through ink since 1982. As you already mentioned, we cater to both domestic and international markets. We have 2 state-of-the-art factory with a lot of good machines, all brand new machines. And we have got a culture of innovation and product improvement, which makes our product speak for itself. And of course, word of mouth publicity has helped us to have repeat customers till date. Being almost a 40-year-old organization, we don't specifically have a marketing team as such. It has been our work which has been spoken and brought us more orders till date. And coming into packaging, we have slowly started a marketing team which needs customer service and attention to detail for new product development. So that has been an instigating journey for us. And consistency and quality, service and on-time delivery have been the 3 pillars that our founder directors have instilled in the second generation. We are actually now 6 people into the business of second generation, and we are in the path of growth as well. So we have been introduced eco-friendly papers, be it like the Fetrigonis or the Natural Evolutions into Kerala, with the first aqueous coating machine to Kerala way back in 2006. And we are also a sustainably focused company with FSC certification. And we also follow the principle of reduce, reuse, and recycle wherever it is possible. And we have been a multi-award winning printing company. We don't speak much of this. We want our work to speak rather than the awards. So we consider this as, we are always trying to improve upon our own benchmarks rather than looking at the competition. So that has been our winning streak, and it has helped thus far reach us. So these are some of the solution-specific approach which we have taken up, where ink has played a major role in helping that pop-up feeling. And we believe to be justified for a project to be successful, we have to be 100% involved in it and try to get the best to the customer. So we always go for a solution-specific approach, and we advise the customer learn to know what exactly they want. And innovation and other things, of course, are layered on top of it once we understand what they're expecting. In certain scenarios, we have even recommended our customer not to print this or to do it in a different way so that they can add more value. Like the variable data project which was shown during the pandemic, we did a packaging job where they wanted a QR code which has to be variable data on the pack, but we advised it to do it in a different way, which proved him to give more ROI to his business. So these are some of the projects which we have done. One is for the Incredible India, where they wanted a special project to be popped up. And the second one on the right, it was actually a menu card. And we believe that reproducing what is there in the photograph to the paper is the most challenging part, being as a printer. And we have successfully done that. For this work, we have been conferred an Asian Print Award for Gold Award. So this is with that brochure. And this is very photorealistic images. You can see, I don't know how far you can see this. It has been highly photographed, and this is that image. And to reproduce it has been a very big challenge for us. There's almost the fishes popping out from this. It's very enticing. So we work closely with the photographers, with their customers, and of course the ink manufacturers and also the prepress, which is our strength to reproduce the exact effect what the customer wants. And moving on to the label job, which you can see, it's kind of popping out from this, which we also won a national award for excellence for this. And this has been done with a 6-color job and with special Pantones to give a pop-up effect. And we suggested a embossing on top of this label so that the effect is really popped up when it is stuck on the label. And this is a 100% export product from a Kerala company. And it has created a lot of ripple in the market for them and given a lot of orders. So they have been positioned for more like from a premium category to luxury category because of these kind of label applications. That is the feedback which we got from them. So now moving on to product-centric developments, we have also got a new product development once we get into packaging. We almost closed around 450 products in the last 3 years of the pandemic, which we've been catering to both offline and online markets. We've been working closely with a lot of e-commerce development companies who want to launch their product only in e-commerce, and there has been a lot of good projects which we could be part of it. Some are already in the pipeline, some is already being launched. So one of this project was again for a cosmetic division where color is again very critical. They wanted a lot of products right from display cards to the tent boxes and other stationery items. All has to be matched to their specific color. And this has been a very unique project which we have been taken up. It is actually a very ancient ritual art form from Kerala called Kalamelutha. And this book is actually, you can see a pen has been kept there. This book is actually weighing 8.5 kilograms. And the size of the book is around 25 by 35.5 centimeters. So no machine in the world can bind this book. For this book, we created a rounding and backing machine by ourselves. And it was completely done. I do 1,000 copies order, and the color criticalness was also very critical on this job because it is all this powdered, dyed and powdered powder, which is being spread around to create that artistic image, and it has to be photorealistic. And it was printed, and the client was extremely happy, and it has been a very successful project for us over a period of time. And now moving on to again specialty products, I would like to come into this. The story behind this is called, like, many people who have traveled to Kerala, you might have seen the houseboats and the Kathakalis and all those things. And literally we have got a wall kannadi, which is being used, which is not a mirror. So these are the traditional gifting norm which normally everybody come across. But this particular client of us, very young people, they wanted something unique and they wanted something very close related to the Kerala culture, which can be considered as a collector's edition or as a serious gift alternative to the traditional gifting opportunity. So now this product is successfully listed and it is successfully being selling as an airport brand. If you visit Kerala in the international launch, this has been displayed along with some other products also which were curated for them. So this is actually the Kathakali playing cards, where literally each and every character of the Kathakali has been drawn and it has been replicated to the like a Joker or like a king and queen. It's all replicated by the Kathakali caricatures and the characters. And it was a very color specific project. And every single playing card has got a Kathakali deck. So the aces, the jokers, the court cards, everything were designed with finesse and details, which has never been achieved before. And on the back of it, we can show you the pack here. It is a fully foil packed on the top, as you see on the right, left on the image. And the card has been specially printed using a special copper ink to create that vibrancy on the color of the deck card. This is also a Kathakali face. And you can also see a lot of, like as you see, all the characters, like this is for the king here. And again, this is the queen. And again, this is the Duden, or what you call the Joker, that has been created in a different way. So this has been this has created a lot of ripples in the gifting segment. And the customer of ours has also got a UK grant after seeing this product, and they're also trying to list it in various other forums. So this project has literally paved us into looking after the artistic side of the innovation and how to bring it to paper. So we also suggested them to print on the inside with a separate copper color, and it's also kind of spot UV on the inside, so that it gives a premium effect once it is being done. And to your knowledge, this is not used to play, and it has been aqueous coated as well. It can be played, but this is like a collector's edition. You can gift it to. It's considered as an international gift from Kerala. So that norm has been shattered in traditional gifting. And this has been another special product which we again won an Asian Print Award. This is actually again a traditional product which you see in Kerala. It is called the Tarappa or the mat, which where normally people in Alapura, it is made from the boya product. So people used to lie down and take rest because it's a very cold product, even if the outside weather is really hot. And the customer of ours wanted to create the same replica effect on the wedding card, big corporate house in Kerala. And so it's almost a 6 months long project where this was photographed in many different ways and trying to reproduce it in the right paper. We had to work with almost 5 to 6 different varieties of paper, and again work very closely with the photograph, and then go to the customer's end and then try to get an idea whether this is what they wanted exactly. So after a lot of trial and error combination, we chose an Italian grade of paper, which almost created the same effect of the Tarappa. And the same fabric texture was created. Now we are talking about printing on textiles, but once this was displayed in our normal in our company, people used to come and ask, do you print on textiles as well? So that was the realistic thing. I think Ramu has already seen it. He knows about those products, touch and feel. So this has again conferred as an international award and also national award. This is the inside of it, where slightly you can see the separate texture and feel has been created on it. So the relevance of ink on this is like to create the same natural effect. You need to have the right combination of yellow and magenta combination. So we had to work closely with the ink suppliers to get the tone right with the image, even though the color was corrected in the pre-press. Certain R&D activity was done to get this project moving. So this is really an exciting project to work with. And this is what we follow generally, like the traditional, the first generation people, a lot of people are presented here. They have been coming from printing as considered as an art. And when I joined in the business way back in 2007, I took the same legacy of art and tried to impart the science of ink and science of color management into the business. I think which has created a lot of, as is the standardization on the press, but on the innovation part of the customer as well. So that has created a consistency all over the press. So since we moved into packaging, we have been following a LAB-based value rather than density-based value since 2015. So, and also we have been trying to create the same consistency effect with this approach. So with the traditional approach and the scientific approach, if you link it right, probably that is a perfect blend you can give back to the industry. And it is very exciting to work with different kind of projects. Yes, so very nice of Print Week to give an opportunity. I hope I have delivered on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Anoop. 207 awards is very impressive, though you don't talk about it much. Congratulations. I must say, God's own print firm in God's own country. Recently, someone gifted me with a bar of Paul and Mike chocolates, and I know you've been associated with Synthite Industries for a very long time.
Yes,
so
yes.
You looked at design, substrates, and sizes, plus Team Anaswara chose a folding box board with food grade aqueous coating. I know I was told you had long discussions on how to incorporate every information they wanted into a single outer carton. Obviously, the effort shows. So my question for you, how long do you research on the brand requirements, and then how do you research on the packaging design? What sort of timelines do you usually maintain?
I think it's a very broad question and can change from customer to customer. So we have got a set kind of a prototype when we talk to the customer on initial thing. They've got a set of questionnaires which we pass them through so that we get an idea in which position they are, whether they are the ideation stage is there or the design stage they already moved in, where we can give a suggestion. So once that is through, we probably want the design people to come and talk to us, or we talk to the design people along with the customer. So for this particular project, it has been back and forth for a long time since the customer themselves was creating a brand which wanted to outshine, like the earlier presentation, which had outshined the company's brand image and create a new product line altogether, and which wanted to be an international product line. So it was a challenging part from the design side itself, and they wondered how it will replicate on the paper side. There were a lot of combination and trials going on. And of course, we got the people in when the work was getting printed. So a lot of proofing, couple of proofings were done. But since there's a initial, that was very smooth actually, because of the initial conversations we had, I think it took almost, 1.5 to 2 years to get things moving slowly. The design agency was in Mumbai and the customer was in Kerala. We were again in Kerala. So we had a combination, and it was their new product development wing as well who coordinated. So they had more time to give it rather than as a owner driven or a company. It's a different case. So we used to interact with them nicely. There has been a couple of challenges also, I remember, regarding the closure and other things, which was again, the finesse was done, created at the end. And I think eventually the challenge was regarding the reproduction of the color, since the palette was very high because they had wanted to launch around 100 SKUs in another 2 years. That was a vision they imparted to us. The strategy was formulated in that way so that we can use the same paper for every kind of color matching and all those things. So I think eventually it was a very good experience for us. I think since we moved into packaging, it was again since the volumes were not that high, but this project was very crucial because for Synthite, it was a make or break situation. And they have also, I think, encashed because of the packaging again. So because of the name Paul and Mike, it has been the farmers whom has been helped. So there's a lot of ideation was there on the pack to get things on move. I think overall, if you think, I think the project took us almost 2.5 years. I think now it has been moved on to the general. It has been moved out of the new product development. It has become a shelf product. So I think now we are also catering to their daily requirements, and we're working on other new products. So it has been an exciting journey. I hope I have answered.
Yes, that's great to know, and congratulations once again. And thanks a lot for this presentation, Anoop.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our last presenter today is Jayant Mardikar, Commercial Head Parks and Packaging. Jayant Sridhar Mardikar joins us from Chakan, MSc Chemistry graduate, Diploma in Materials Management, GDMM from Indian Institute of Material Management, Nagpur, Certified IQA ISO QA System, Certified Instructional Designer from Symbiosis Pune, PG Diploma in Personal Management and Industrial Relations, Tabla Visharad from Akhil Bharatiya Gandharva Mahavidyalaya Mandal. Jayant is DGM Materials at Parks and Packaging. Jayant has 25 years of experience in QA, product development, sourcing and logistics, and warehouse management in pharma, lubricating oil, and packaging industry. Welcome, Jayant, and over to you. We are not able to hear you clearly, sir. There seems to be a problem.
Sir, can you just switch off your mic once and switch it on once again, please? Thank you.
Is it audible now?
Yes,
Yes,
you are
absolutely
audible.
fine.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for this.
That's okay. Over to you, sir.
Now screen is visible.
Yes, your screen is visible, sir. Please go ahead.
So good afternoon to all the participants and the panelists, and thanks, Mr. Ramu, for giving the opportunity to speak on this occasion of Ink Week. It's a commendable effort that Print Week is doing to create awareness amongst the people like us in the industry. I am the least competent person in the panel to speak. So I have only 6 or 7 slides to show, and basically I will discuss on the company which I work for, then our focus areas, then I would also touch upon the kinds of inks we are using, the surface finishes we do for the offset, then our supply chain initiatives that we are taking. Then I will also touch upon some challenges which we are facing currently because of geopolitical situation. And lastly, I will touch upon the green packaging concept or the initiatives which we are thinking to undertake in the company. Part of it we have already started. So I would just like to have a brief information about our company. We are one of the largest folding carton manufacturers in India, having 8 plants across India. We provide a complete packaging solution to different industry clients with proper understanding of their folding carton requirements, and we also deliver customized solutions. We also offer a complete range of carton styles with various print finishes, such as lamination, foiling, embossing, security features, window patching, variable data prints, inline braille embossing, cold foil technology, screen print on various types of substrate and print finishes. We are also equipped with high-speed and modern technology machines to supply a top quality folding cartons to customers across the world. We have adopted global systems and highest quality standards to produce the required quality of the cartons for customers. And our vision is to be a globally recognized brand in packaging industry with a mission to provide sustainable packaging solution with very high, strong value system, which encompass highest integrity, humility, excellence, and respect. Our main focus areas, I would like to take it in some few points. The major focus area is, one is the eliminating plastics from the process. Then second is we are constantly exploring a latest technology to augment production lines in order to cater customers' requirement with best-in-class customer services. We have ParkPack, that is a dedicated line in one of our plants in Chakan for tabletop cartons for the liquid packaging. We have best quality litho laminated cartons production facilities in Chakan as well as in other units as well. We have best facilities to produce liner cartons as well. We have expertise on solutions for toy packaging and alcohol beverage segments. We also have, recently we have innovations called Eat Qual, that is a packaging developed for eating food only with one hand. If the person's one hand is is not operational because of some other fatalities or something, there is a pack which we had designed along with the McDonald's, that is Eat Qual. And we also have a dedicated research center for developing next gen packaging solution for brand leaders. That is located in our Pune unit where I sit. And this is, they also design various sustainable solutions for clients depending on their requirements. Then I come to the certain processes and the inputs which are being consumed by us. We use all kinds of UV, conventional, metallic, screen, and low migration inks, which are conventional and UV. So here I would like to emphasize on that we are the first company to start the ink matching concept in India with SIGWork, and then we also work with Toyorex for the UV inks, and we are also working with the Uber for the mineral oil cobalt free inks in our facilities. And we are also exploring various developments with SIGWork, Uber, and Toyorex. And these are the companies who have been our association. We have long associations with them for the business needs. Then I would like to talk about for certain surface finishes. We do many surface finishes which are possible on the offset machines, which are either these are predominantly of 5 types, which can be achieved on metallized polyester surface and a plain board, be it grayback, be it whiteback or virgin. We can do gloss, matte, texture, soft touch, and tacto, depending on the customer's requirements. Then I would like to also talk about some unique projects which are being undertaken or which have been executed. One is polyethylene replacement, that is on certain cartons we have replaced PE. And then we are working on the replacement of plastic bags on the end of the line. And then we are also working on replacement of MedPet films. And also we are working on some low migration and food safe packaging solutions for the required, for the clients who are specifically demanding some regulatory requirements in the cartons. Then I will talk about some supply chain initiatives we have undertaken. The major one is, since we have 8 factories located across different parts of India, it was very difficult to cater from one centralized place, and to reduce the lead time and to improve the customer services. We have focused on regionalizing supply chain and the sourcing part. And then we also have data analytics in place for generating the trends of the required materials. So that helps in streamlining the inventory part of the operations, be it finished goods, be it raw materials. And then we are also having a proactive engagement with our business partners on the raw material status and also supply needs. This is very important when there is a crisis situations prevailing like this. Unless there is a proactive engagement with the partners, it's difficult to have the full-fledged support and the requirements from them. And then we also have inventory optimization. Then we also have provided some cushions in the supply chain. When we talk about regionalized sourcing, this also helps to have one primary source located near to the factory. And then there is another source which is centrally available, or we can coordinate centrally to cater to the plant. That way, it is very well aligned in the system. And then I would like to talk about on the challenges and the mitigations. I'm not sure whether these all are actually possible, not possible, but I would like to just throw it to the people in the industry. The first one is predominantly we talk about the 3 areas. One is in the processes, where the print waste reduction is one of the biggest challenge. which everyone is facing. So there should be some statistical QC tools to be used for study, and then the solutions to be adopted. This should be actually joint exercise for the benefit of packaging industry as a whole. And then next is to adopt the unique business model. Actually, I would slightly emphasize on refocusing the business models which is traditionally being adopted by the converters, and we should rather start focusing on data analytics, software integration, process automation. Then we should also focus on reducing non-value added activities. And unfortunately, this is not looked into totality, which needs to be looked into. And then I would also request the engagement with all the stakeholders. There is a constant dialogue is needed. Then we have to have exchange of ideas. If someone is having a better idea to mitigate certain RM criticality, then probably can come up and suggest, and then we can explore. There should be a open discussion and sharing of knowledge at a definite intervals, probably, and then we should have deep dive into problem areas that will probably help to all of us in analyzing the exact root cause of the problem. And then we should have the brainstorming with all experts with open mind. So probably if we do this, then I think that there will be definitely some change in the industry will come. And lastly, I would some point I would like to talk about is the green packaging. Here I have already emphasized earlier that we have to have reduction in the plastic waste. And what we are doing here in our company is we have adopted the processes which are helping to reduce emission, like we are using low VOC varnishes, Calpro 65 certified products, ROHS rich certified products. We are using green blankets in the system. We are using MO and CO, that is mineral and cobalt free system. We have a solar power usage in the plant. And lastly, I would just put a quote of Edward D. Buono, who is supposed to be the master for the lateral thinking process. It is better to have enough ideas for some of them to be wrong than to be always right by saving no ideas at all. I would say than to be always right by having no ideas at all. So it should always be a lateral thinking approach we should adopt in the current scenario, which we all are saying geopolitical situation in blah blah. So that's all from my side. Thank you, Shriram. Thanks a lot. With this, I'm closing my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Huge drive with paper and packaging board and eliminating plastics from the process. Two things caught my eye: replacement of plastic bags, end of the line, as well as replacement of MedPet films. And I did not know that about Equal, that packaging developed for eating food only with one hand. McDonald's was a design invention by Parksons. Kudos to the Parkson team, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, can you share some insights about your design park? Is this located at Chakan, and what is the size and what is the profile of the people involved?
Basically, Chakan plant, we have that we call it as an innovation park here. And we have designers here who actually closely work with customers and understand their requirements. And then we have also a team comprises of industrial designer, graphic designers, packaging technologists. It's a mix of people, sourcing expert for unique materials required. So it is a combination of this kind of people, which is, constantly involved in researching and developing new concepts, which is unique in itself. And then we are, constantly discussing with customers or rather engaging with customers to, provide the best possible solutions to them.
Thank you so much. A nice sharing again. And we hope to hear from you sometime later too.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
We have a few questions for our speakers today. One big question I start off with for Anoop. You conduct a lot of training sessions. Rahul Kumar sir from Noida wants to know, how can we get young millennials excited about the wonderful work? For example, the work that was shared by all the speakers today. Is there a simple education module to excite young millennials about a career in print? Another module to a journey in print, which can complement the current workforce in the present factories. Plus, get young minds to get an insight into how print and packaging has changed through the generations. A knowledge session which is aimed at employers, parents, carers, guardians, students, and teachers. And thoughts. It's a longish question, but I think the sum is, how do we get people excited about having a career, the journey of print, and getting even the parents and the carers, the guardians, everybody excited about print overall? This is a question from Rahul Kumar.
I think it's a very broad question. I think, is that for me to answer, or
yes,
for the whole?
Yes. Straight on to you.
Yeah, I think it's a very broad question to start with. I think there's no one particular way you can do it. I think he has also mentioned different ways and opportunities. This is one way of doing it, what PrintWeek is doing. I think this is a very innovative way. And I think the traditional way has been, a lot of people used to come for the printing, students used to come to visit the factories and they do the on-the-job training. So they impart more knowledge. Last week also, the government had visited our packaging plant. They wanted to incorporate the packaging technology for the students, which they are unable to see due to the COVID times for the last 2 years. So there's a comprehensive video, their process video they have taken to understand and impart the knowledge. It is there in the YouTube, so it is an open world. Everybody can go and see that. So that is a kind of work the government and is doing in Kerala. So we have been also supporting for projects like that, which is innovative. And again, last week, because of the opening of COVID, we were grateful enough to have a batch of 30 design learning students to visit our facility. So they were also enticed to learn more about print and how the design will really come into the paper and how it's been done. It was mesmerizing for them, the feedback. They didn't know that the industry is such wide. So that kind of publicity campaign has to really happen from the printers and the industry stakeholders across the globe, I believe so. There has to be a PR agency definitely working for print. So there has been a lot of PR agencies working for other entities against print. So for that also, the association in Kerala has started a project for a print lovers forum has been created. The main idea is to impart print as a medium of love, but which can be given out, or it is considered as a green project as well. So a lot of people think print is not green, and there has been a lot of campaigns. So we have been trying to recreate that picture onto the society, so that it is a long shot. We are trying to give that print is more sustainable. Print is, this paper is being created similar to like how we cultivate rice and how we cultivate other crops. So it is similar way. It is not be harming any environment or anything. So just coming back to the question again. So I think it has to start from the school days. I think there has to be a curriculum, like on the book side, if something can be printed by the government, or if some kind of a body is working for that. So, and also the industry by itself has to be more dynamic. I think with more youngsters coming into industries, they have to take up this as a challenge. That is one of the reasons I've been helping future schools to specifically, probably their aim is to bridge the gap between the industry and the actual requirement, and create print as a wow factor among the youngsters. So I think that is the goal. That is what attracted to me. So I'm actually trying to help all those causes whenever possible I can. So I think this kind of attitude-loving community needs to be developed. So the same kind of passion and other things. I think that will drive more print. And of course, I think the technology, we should use social media. So even though we are printers, we should use social media to promote print and these kind of concepts. So that's what I believe will try to bridge the gap. There is a gap for sure, because we still remember in Kerala, there's a movie, you might know it. So whenever it's an old, the letterpress has been shown in that movie. It's basically a letterpress plus a printer story going on as a movie character. Most of the people still know only that, which is printing, but that is gone leaps and bounds to the latest technology coming in. So I think that is the reality from which the question has come, I believe so. And there is no one particular answer. It has to be an effort by the industry. That's what I feel. We have to vouch it, then only we can attract the talent, then only we will be growing.
Also more a PR effort that you mentioned.
I think that is the key, because that is you remember the Anda campaign?
Yeah.
There's a big story behind it, why it was launched. So similar to that, it is high time that we do something.
Got it.
Yes.
Sahil and Shail, if we have to be dynamic, as Anoop says, should we look at more short-term courses instead of like four-year and a 5-year course, more like the 2020 style than the traditional test match of 5 days from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock approach? Sahil and Shail, are you there?
I feel like it has to be a mix of both. What I've noticed is even the longer term courses that we have, the formal way of education, which is 4 years, and they are also evolving a lot. So it's not that for the entire 4 years, you'd just be studying print or you'd just be studying one specific topic. It would be a wide gamut of subjects that you'd be studying. Whereas with the short courses, you could have specific points of knowledge that could be covered. So a good way to go about it is to have a 4-year complete education, and then over your life cycle, you keep upgrading that knowledge with these shorter bits of courses.
Makes sense. Yes. Thank you, Shail. So there is a question from Zainul Lakdawala for Jayant. Is it possible to delaminate plastic from paper totally, plastic UV? How can you replace MedPet with a coated board? Is it any specific brand of coated board which high oil absorption value means lowest of ink penetration?
Basically on the, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah,
please go ahead.
Yeah. Basically, the replacement we talk is about the MedPet is from gravure inks via gravure process, and which is now being adopted in the industry gradually, and that is what I meant by replacing the MedPet film, which is generally adopted in the industry now. And we are also exploring the possibility of having the the silver inks which is being used, where the de-inking is possible, and where we can when the board is sent to mills, then we should not have any kind of environment related issues. That is under exploration with the companies.
Okay, got it. Thank you, sir. Well, I think we have one final question that we can take now for Shail. Shail, this is from CK of Marks in Buddy. He wants to know, would be great to know if the security inks actually help the brand to control counterfeiting, and was it backed up with some increase in sales, etc.? Do you have data to back the effectiveness of such security inks on the packaging? Shail?
Yeah, so there are many number of studies conducted on just how much of an impact counterfeiting has on the brand, not just on the brand value, but also on its own commercials. So I'd be happy to share over a chat or something all of those compilations of data. Yeah, sorry, what was the other question?
So the question was, do you have data for it? Was one, and would be great to know if security inks actually help the brand to control counterfeiting.
Yeah, of course.
And also increase in sales. Was it back with increase in sales?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So among other things, security inks certainly are a very useful tool that you can employ. Like I said, it's a cat and mouse game. You like the counterfeiters keep chasing the people who are making these innovations. So, but yeah, security inks are of course an important weapon in your arsenal.
Thank you, Shail. There are many more questions which we will share with the innovators, and maybe once you give us the answer, we'll share their answers with all our readers and our delegates. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Robin Anthony says, great session. I agree. My colleague, Shaman Alexander, will upload this session on all our social media sites, and the team will make sure the session reaches out to as many A-lister brands and DRC brands plus designers as we can. I thank all the Day 4 presenters. Wonderful, wonderful sharing. I thank all the delegates. If you thought the session were useful, please spread the word among your friends and colleagues in the industry about Day 5. I thank our partners, Zigwork and Huber India. See you tomorrow for Day 5 of InkWeek. 25th March, Friday, is all about sustainability. The opening address is by Dr. K. Arulanand, Joint Director, Technical, Designated Officer, Central Licensing, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, FSSAI. The opening address will be followed by a Q&A session. This will be followed by a keynote address, Manas Sarkar, General Manager, UFlex. Then there is a panel discussion on sustainability. The speakers for the panel discussion are Ganesh Kumar, Associate Vice President, Sustainability, DQS India, Dr. Medha Tatpatikar, Co-founder and Director, Rudra Blue Planet, Ramakrishna Karanth, CEO, Zigwork India, Sailesh Verma, Vice President, Global Sales, Head, Packaging and Lamination Films, Cosmo Films. The session will be, of course, moderated by our Ramu Ramanathan. Again, please spread the sustainable word, register now and be present tomorrow. We hope to see you there. Thank you and have a good evening.